What is going on, everybody? It is that time of the week. It is time for your sports recap, man. I am your boy E. I'm here with Rennie G tonight, and we're going to kind of dig into a couple of different things, man. We're going to talk about the NBA a little bit, get into the MLB changes that they've had, and also talk about this mess that's going on down with the Alabama basketball team.
Yeah, for sure.
With everything that's going on. So, first and foremost, man, we're going to jump into the NBA, and we're kind of late to the party on this one, man. But like I've kind of I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this, man. But the NBA All Star break came and went. The skills challenge. I don't understand why all three of the Antetokounmpo brothers are in there. I know that I just butchered that name, but I don't understand why you got
Right.
the main one. Everybody wants to see Giannis. Giannis is hurt, so he didn't even participate. So his two brothers got to compete against two teams, one from Utah, and I don't even know where the other one was from. I not even gonna sit and lie to you, man. I turned the channel. The 3-point contest, completely and totally missed it. Was watching something else. My favorite current player in the NBA, Dame Lillard, wound up winning it. I know that I thought it was funny because he did say afterwards that if he hadn't won this year, that he would never do it again. Um, and then Matt McClung, who was a high school dunk phenom, actually won the slam dunk contest. You know what I'm saying? And he did it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, man. Short guys in the dunk contest always look better than the big guys in the dunk contest. Let's just be honest. Um, but the issue that I have with the dunk contest is so you got a dude that's been in the G League. He signed on with the Sixers on a 10-day contract. They allowed him to come in to do the dunk contest. He won the dunk
Mm-hmm.
contest. He made $100,000 off of the dunk contest, and in one night, basically came up. He has made only 104 total in his entire career in the NBA, and in one night, he made 100. You know what I'm saying? So, I everybody out there, oh, Matt McClung saved, this and that, and no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Until the stars come back, and none of them want to do it. The dunk contest, in my personal opinion, is essentially dead until you give me a Zion Williamson, LeBron James,
Ja.
Ja Morant. You know what I'm saying? Until you start giving me them with Zach Levine coming back and doing it
Mm-hmm.
again, like until you give me like that, it ain't worth it. And none of these dudes want to do it. Like, I don't understand where the change happened. I don't understand how we went from having nothing but stars to having absolutely positively nobody doing this. Like, the only reason why I knew Matt McClung
There
is
are minute
because,
restrictions. That's why they're not doing anything.
come on, dude, that's a
I'm just,
conversation for a different story. Your
I'm
boy
just telling
Anthony
you, these
Edwards called them
dudes.
all out on that.
Yeah,
But
I ain't never seen such a thing.
I knew McClung because I'm a Georgetown fan. He went to Georgetown for a few years before he transferred to Texas Tech. I also know him because he broke the Virginia high school scoring record that was previously held by Allen Iverson and JJ Redick. You know what I'm saying? So, but he was a YouTube phenom in regards to his dunks. If you go in and you watch, you put in Matt McClung high school, dude, you're gonna see some stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But to say that he saved the and then the layup
Yeah.
line that was the actual physical all-star game itself was an absolute positive joke. It wasn't even entertaining. Like, that's the bad part about it. Like, if you're at least going to give free lanes, I mean free shots at the daggone lane in the basket to everybody, it should be a dunk fest. It should be a whole bunch of alley oops. It should be all of this.
Right.
No, they're shooting threes.
That's the
For
league now,
what?
man. That's the league now,
It
man. Nobody. Come on, man. We've had
it
this
is,
conversation a
man.
thousand times.
And I get that, man. But at the same time, dude, like, I don't know, man. It's not entertaining. It's not entertaining. If you want to talk about the entertainment side of basketball, it's above the rim. It's not the 3-point shot. It's just not. You got dudes pulling up from the logo, one step over the daggone, the half court line and stuff like that. Cool. You're doing stuff that you do in a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see the high flying act, but I also kind of want to see a little bit of defense, just a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
man. None
in
of these
my
dudes are
opinion,
playing
man,
defense for real.
nah, in my opinion, right now, man, the dunk contest, the 3-point shootout, All Star Weekend, just as a whole, man, like, I haven't been a fan for a few years now. for a few years. And it's sad because it used to be my favorite All-Star weekend out of
Yeah,
all the
man.
major sports.
We used to
All
get
the
up for
major
that.
sports.
Yeah.
So coming out of the All-Star break, there's been a couple of different things that have happened. Y'all are gonna have to deal with me because again, is my favorite player, but Dame went for 71. Tied
Good
Donovan
for
Mitchell
him.
for the season high this year. I love the fact that he constantly tells people, man, I ain't leaving Portland. Y'all got to come play with me.
I
Because this is where
respect
I'm
it.
going to be.
Yeah, I respect that,
Pisses me
man.
off because I really would have loved to see him, you know what I'm saying, make his
Oh,
way
I
to the
get
Big
it.
Apple. But the crazy part about the whole thing, man, is that he dropped 71 on 60% shooting from the field, from the
That's
3-point
crazy.
line. He was perfect from the line. He made 13 3-pointers, you know what I'm saying? And on top of all of that, man, like he had 6 rebounds and 6 assists to go along with it.
Yeah.
But he
Boy,
said after the
serious.
game, and I thought that it was, yeah, and he always has been. He knows who he is. But he said after the game, man, when they interviewed him, he was just like, the guys needed me tonight. I needed to step up. We're in the playoff hunt, but we got work to do. And so I got to work tonight. You know what I'm saying? So I
He
respect
showed up.
that. I did find it funny though that Donovan Mitchell's mom sent out a tweet saying that, "Hey Donovan, Dame dropped 71 tonight. We need 72." Donovan's hurt right now. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
sit down,
saying?
mom. What are
So
you doing?
but I appreciate her, man. You know what I'm saying? She's big up in her son. Coming out of the break though, too, the additions that the Lakers had made, they were sitting at 3-1 as far as of their 4-game stretch, whatever the case may be, leading up to and then coming out of the All-Star break. And then LeBron went up and go figure on a shot where he blocks Kyrie. He does something to his foot.
Mm.
Initially, he played through it for the rest of the game. He played. But now he is on what they are saying is going to be multiple weeks in regards to an injury. He had just said before the game
Damn.
against the Mavericks that this was probably the most important 23 game stretch of his career. And now, just off of the initial report, he's going to be out for 2 weeks. Well, in that 2 week time period, he's going to miss 8 games. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So that's a lot, man. And I mean,
Yeah, man.
as in regards to that game, they were down by 27. They came back and they won that game. You know what I'm saying? So they had I guess you could say, that momentum and everything rolling. But man, I got to be honest with you, man. Out west, dude, like they were lucky if they made the play-in game.
Yeah,
There's
they got to
just
be
just
careful.
too much talent. You know what I'm saying? And now you want me to believe that AD is going to be the guy to carry
Okay.
the Lakers?
Come on, man. You know
AD
better than
used to be
that.
able to do that, man, but at the same time, he's not that same player anymore. Like everybody right now, like I was listening to a couple of different things over the course of the last few days, and everybody's like, yo, he has the ability to be able to carry that team,
Absolutely.
but is he gonna get hurt?
That's the problem.
And
Like, dude
it's
does not suck. It's just he's injury prone.
not
And
even
you said
close.
all the time, what's the best ability?
Availability.
Right. And boy's never available.
Availability.
Or
He's
he's
not,
rarely
man.
available.
And it's sad because the year leading up to him going to the Lakers, he was in talks of one of the top 5 players in the league. And just because of the different injuries and everything along those lines that he sustains, and I don't ever want anybody to get hurt, man. You know what I'm saying? I also want to see
No, no.
product. I want to see dudes on the court, and he just hasn't been able to do that, man. And so with LeBron going down, what I don't think people realize is they don't have enough dudes on that team to do everything that he does, even with the moves that they made. So they weren't a team that I was expecting, even with the additions and even with LeBron being on the court. They weren't a team that I expected to really make that final push these last 23 25 games, whatever the case may be. um but it's LeBron, so you can't really ever count him out either, you know what I'm saying? But now that he's not going to be playing a quarter of those games, I think the season's over for the Lakers, man. I
Yeah.
don't like those chances. So
I mean,
um
boy's older. So, father time
he's
is playing
38,
that
dude.
defense. Yeah. At 38, dude. You remember how you felt at 38? That was like
Dude, he's
yesterday.
9 years younger than me now. I'm
That's what I'm trying to
47. He's
tell
9
you.
years younger than me. 10 years ago, I couldn't do what he's doing. No,
No, I
no.
couldn't. No, no, no.
Ren,
So he gets all kind of props, yo.
oh, I'm not. I don't want to see him hurt because the
Yeah,
NBA is a better league when he's part of it. You know what I'm saying? Hands down. In his defense, most of the seasons that he's played, man, LeBron's been healthy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So he definitely has changed the way that a lot of teams look at players. I mean, I get it. They're getting more rest than they ever did. You know what I'm saying? It's not as physical of a game, but there was a report out today, man, that the only person that's played more minutes than him in NBA history is Kareem.
That's wild.
So, yeah, when you start
I mean,
thinking
dude
about it,
has
that
been playing since middle school, so like he's been around for a second. He's been around for a
exactly.
minute, man. So God bless
um,
him. Hope he gets better soon, man.
and then there was a couple of games this past weekend, man, that were really just dope basketball to watch, man. You know what I'm saying? The first one was Joker goes out and drops a 40-point triple double, and they beat the new look Clippers with Russ in overtime. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of strengthen that whole thing in regards to whether or not he's going to win his third straight MVP and on a team that is quietly one of the best teams in the league. You know what I'm saying? So he just keeps plotting along, man. But arguably, I would say the best game from the weekend involved your boys and the Sixers. Been watching basketball for a long time, dude. Like a long time. And I can't remember ever seeing a late game shot like what Tatum hit. And over the course of his career in clutch moments, he is like one of the top 3 clutch players currently in the NBA, basically saying that if you need a shot down the stretch, you give the ball to him. He's more than likely he's going to make that shot. You know what I'm saying? But for Embiid to come out, get the ball again, we're talking about a new NBA now. You're talking about a 6'11", 7-foot center getting the ball on the inbounds after a made 3-point shot and pulling up from 3/4 court and just draws, just and then
It
they
was
waved
like
it off because it was
that
no good.
close. That close. You should have seen my face. I was like, yes, Tatum. He did it. And then boy inbounds the ball and he shoots it. And I'm like, no, no, no. I was like, please, somebody rewind the tape. Please tell me I did not just see what I thought I just saw. Oh my God. You're talking about somebody that was vexed for like 2.3 seconds. I was like, whew.
And this has kind of been the Celtics MO all year, man. And I know that, you know, you sit down and watch not just every ounce of the basketball, but you're also catching the post game stuff and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you are as in tune with your team as anybody that I know. But you guys have either won or been in games with top tier talent throughout the league when your stars haven't necessarily been your stars. Like Tatum's been off the last few games, man. Like in the Sixers game, he only had 18 points. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Brown wound up, I think he dropped 25, 26 points, if I'm not mistaken. And Embiid just dominated. I mean, he went for what, 40, 12, and I think he had like 3 blocks or something along those
Yeah,
lines.
he's
So
dope.
he's another guy, man, early in his career. He can
Couldn't
be
stay healthy.
X if he stays healthy. And if you
Right.
look over the course of the last few years, he's been healthy and you see the type of player that everybody thought that he could be. Which kind of leads into last night's game between our boys. So before we talk about anything in regards to the game itself, in text messages that were going back and forth between the two of us, we were talking about the Celtics just haven't been able to get a call. In the last 2 games combined, they've been outshot at the free throw line by 43 free
Not
throws.
just the last 2 games, bro. Like the whole season. Go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
We're not gonna get into the whole
All
season
right,
and everything along those
all right.
lines because that just is too much data to try and pull together. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, Tatum told the one ref last night in the game he earned his first ejection last night by telling the ref that it's the best officiated game he's ever been a part of. That's what got him thrown out of the game.
I mean,
you know what
and
I'm
these
saying?
refs are too sensitive, dude. Like, take it easy.
I mean, he was sitting at 14, 7, and 9 last night. He had 14 points, 7 boards, 9 assists. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he's doing other things despite the fact that his shot's not falling. As a Knick fan, I can tell you that I'm a little nervous in regards to our boys because, in my opinion, just looking at it, and you know me, man, like if when it comes to sports, man, I'm gonna give it to you straight. Y'all didn't play with the same sense of urgency that the Knicks did last night.
No, not at all. Not even close.
We were a lot more aggressive than you guys were. Um, they hit the open shots. They took the ball into the paint a lot more last night, which for me, Jalen Brunson is, and I texted to you the other day, man. Like I'm gonna stand on that box and I'm gonna tell everybody I was not a fan of that. It wasn't that I wasn't a fan of him coming to the squad. I didn't like the contract, and he's earned every damn penny of that contract this year.
Yeah, I'll give it to him.
I was telling Nick the other day, man, like depending on what your classification of MVP means, he should be in consideration for the MVP based off of what he's doing for his specific team this year. It's not going to be a popular opinion, and it's not a homer opinion. It's just the dude is literally balled out and turned that franchise. He's turned a corner, you know what I'm saying, for that specific franchise. Randall's a better player because of him. He's balling out right now. He dropped 46, I think, the other night against the Wizards. He dropped 26, 27 last night, you know what I'm saying? Or 26 against the Pelicans. I think he dropped 23 last night against you guys. So, I mean, he's playing good basketball. At some point in time, he's going to realize that he doesn't always have to spin because every time he spins, a double team comes. You know what I'm saying? Tibbs is starting to lose a little bit of faith in RJ. He's taking him out late in the games. Josh Hart is now taking those minutes at the end of those games because he's a veteran. And
He's a veteran.
talks in New York is that RJ might wind up losing that spot. And I don't mean no harm, man. Like it might be good for him to be brought down to reality a little bit. And, I mean, I sent you a text last night. He drives the lane, he beats his man, he pump fakes, and then he has to kick the ball out.
Yeah.
And 3 series later, he takes his man into the paint and drops a floater. And what did I say? He should be doing that all the daggone time because it's there for him. He can get to the paint almost at will. When he gets into the paint, he does like this, and then everything just stops. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't go for the pump fake because everybody knows it is coming. But with the loss last night, the Celtics fall percentage points behind the Bucks. So they are now technically the number 2 seed. The Bucks have taken over. They are the 1 seed. Giannis is hurt. They got Brooklyn tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So the 3 teams in the East, I think, are the best teams in the league. And I think that whoever comes out of the East will probably wind up winning the NBA championship. I think that you guys, out of the 3 teams, you guys would benefit the most from having home court advantage throughout the playoffs if you guys could get it.
That's if they can get it. Like I don't foresee them losing the top spot, but like we text last night, man, like the Celtics, I watched them play brilliant basketball because I watch every game. So there are moments that they're playing and I'm like, yo, this is flawless, beautiful, like executed basketball. And it's effective, it's smooth, it's within pace, there's ball movement, there's open shots sometimes they pass up an open shot for an even better shot and they destroy people. And then like within a game or two, it's like they have amnesia. They're like, yeah, that shit that worked the other day, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do this other mess that clearly doesn't work. And then they do it over and over again. They're gonna be their biggest like enemy. If they play like I know they can play, I don't think it's close. And I'm not being a homer about that. Like, I just don't think it's close. But when they play like they did last night, which they are prone to do, it's scary because they'll get caught up in bad basketball. Then they get overly like sensitive with the calls that are missed frequently. Like, I'm sorry, NBA, fix your refs. These dudes are terrible. They should get fined. And I'm not just saying that as a Celtics fan. I'm telling you, like, come on, LA they would probably be on the same soapbox with me. Like, these dudes are mad emotional. Like, they're not letting the game play out. They're trying to manipulate the game, not officiate it. They're changing the outcome of the game. What was the stat last night for the free throws? Like, I know you know.
It was, I think you guys shot, you were 8 for 12 against the Sixers and 11 or 14 last night against us. We went to the line, I think 34 times. I don't know. Between the two games, the Knicks and the Sixers went to the line 69 times, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all went to the line 26 times.
Part of that is for those excessive threes. Like, there isn't a Steph Curry on our roster. I don't understand what that's about. These dudes are lanky, they're athletic, they got hops, they can bounce all over the place, but they're going to live and die by that 3-point shot.
I think one of the problems that the Celtics have is they try and come out and jump on your throat, and they want to try and put you away early and then coast to the victory. And they rely on the three to make that happen. You know, there was a game earlier this year against the Knicks and the Celtics where y'all couldn't miss from three. And no matter what we did, we shot 68% from the field that night and lost by like 13 points. You know what I'm saying? But y'all took 42 3-pointers that night. You know what I'm saying? That's way too many 3-point shots, dude. And now I get it. You know, they always say that the best way, if you're off, if you're having a hard time, you know, making your shots and everything, you know, drive to the basket, go to the free throw
Go to
line.
the basket. That's like very solution focused based. If you're, like you said the other night, when they shot 40 whatever and they couldn't miss, that was working. Do that all day if it works. The second, and I mean maybe not the second, but like there's a duration of time where you can see that stuff does not work, you should make an adjustment. I don't know if that's on the players or the coach.
It's a small combination of both, because as a coach, I can tell you that in-game adjustments are important. You know what I'm saying? If I'm coaching the defense and I'm running a cover two and everything that the opponent's trying to do is trying to hit us over the top, if I keep calling the cover two, we're gonna get beat because they're gonna get four wide receivers past that. So now I got to make a choice. You know, do I run cover four? Do I run a cover three? Do I give a shell look? You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to make that adjustment based off of, because as a defensive guy, you basically making up your game plan off of the tendencies that you see from watching film. So I know that the NBA is watching film. I know that all these coaches are watching film. They got film teams, you know what I'm saying, that they're paying. There's employees whose sole job is to make sure that they got tape for these guys to watch.
But are they though? Because I watched games like last night, I'm like, yo, no one cut the tape on. No one reviewed the footage. No one cares about winning this game. You could just see the body language was horrendous last night.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, and I told you that, you know, it's the difference between those two teams last night is one team legitimately wanted it more than the other.
Yeah,
because from a talent standpoint, all the way down. What did I even tell you? Like, I think it was in the third quarter. We missed a couple of shots. You guys made a couple of shots, and I texted you. I said, "Here comes the run." You know what I'm saying? Because that's been our MO. That's been our MO all year. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hell, the game that Nick and I went to against the Wizards, dude, we were down by 21, 22 some odd points, man. I mean, they wound up coming back and winning, but how you down 22 points to the Wizards? How is that even possible? After last night's win, they're now the 5 seed. So they surpassed Brooklyn as far as the standings were concerned for the East, which is fine. I need to get in. I need to stay in that 5 so that we can play a Cleveland and get out of the first round for the first time in Lord knows how many years. So we're coming up on that 33-year curse, though. We'll talk about that. That's a completely and totally different pod itself. But
sure,
no, man, I'm real curious to see where things go in the second half. Like I said, you guys basically took the Bucks to overtime when they were at full strength, and four of your 5 starters didn't play a minute of the game. Derek White was the only starter that y'all had. I mean,
we didn't have Jalen.
It's right, you know what I'm saying? And I get load management and I understand that, but you just came out of the All-Star break. Now Jalen's a little bit different though because of the injury that he did.
Boy, broke his face.
We talked about that before. He broke his face. So that one I can kind of understand. But if you're just coming out of the All-Star break, you had rest. What are you load managing? You know what
Because
I'm
they
saying?
got
So
rest, but they were probably drunk, shaking all over the place. Well, I don't know. It was Utah, so I don't know how many places they could be shaking in Utah. But I don't know. I've never been to Utah, and so maybe they got hot spots. But I like our chances. Even with Tatum having a few games where he's not playing at his best, it
you
speaks
guys are still
to
in
like
those games.
it's the bench. We have a solid bench.
The way that he blends the bench with the starters throughout the game has worked for you guys. You know what I'm saying? You and I have said it before though, and I mean I'll put it on tape now that I think for me personally, Rob Time Lord is he's huge for y'all.
He has the same problem as AD or Zion, dude. Like, and you can actually see it now. His bounce is not quite there. Like that freakish
Mm-mm.
athleticism that we are like as Celtics fans accustomed to seeing or like hoping to see that changes the games. Like you could just tell he's still not quite there. I don't know if he's out of shape. I don't know if he's like, pampering that knee or whatever the case is, but he's still not quite the Rob we need him to be. And God, I wish he would develop some kind of offense other than the lob.
You just need a hook
He
shot,
can,
dude.
right, a hook shot, some kind of mid-range action. Like I'm not asking you to go out there and score 50, but like make them
Got
worry.
my own guy, you know what I'm saying, in Mitch. And God love him, man. There was a point in the fourth quarter last night where he got fouled and they put him on the line and he shot a free throw. And the ball went and hit the front of the rim. And I was watching the Boston broadcast and the announcer was just like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, jeez." That's
I
just
just need
bad, man.
I
So
just need Rob to develop some kind of offense other than that dunk, man. Especially if you're like pampering stuff. Like just
right.
a layup, man. Something. Go for the basket. Like ask for the ball. Like bully somebody. They can't jump with you. Post them
Right.
up.
So we're gonna kind of transition a little bit into college basketball. Um,
Yeah.
on a weekend where you had upsets all over the place, you had three games that had unbelievable buzzer beater shots. So you had Arizona State beating Arizona. You had Florida State coming back from 20 some odd down against Miami and knocking Miami off on a buzzer beater. And then you had, and I'm gonna say this now, and some people may not necessarily like this. Currently, the best player, in my opinion, in college basketball is Caitlin Clark, and that's the young lady out of Iowa. She hit a buzzer beater against Indiana, falling to the side. You know what I'm saying, and put the
Hmm.
ball up. Um, so far this year, man, she's averaging 27, 7, and 8 on the season. She's a guard. You know what I'm saying? So, and she has one step across the daggone half court line pull up ability. Like
Hmm.
she's talented, man, and she's fun to watch, man, because she does get everybody involved. But um, that was and has been overshadowed by what's going on down in Alabama. Um, for those of
Ridiculous.
you guys that don't know, we're gonna kind of this is the part of sports that I don't like is when you take something that's supposed to take your mind off of everything that you have going on in your every single day life, and you have to deal with the situation where a choice that was made by a group of individuals has affected another group of individuals for the rest of their life. So on January 15th, Darius Miles and Michael Davis, both of these guys play for or played at the time for the University of Alabama, which, if I'm not mistaken, at that point in time was like the number 2 or number 3 ranked team in the country. Like they're on a roll this year.
Right.
Um, they were at a food spot in and around the campus area there in Alabama, and there was a shooting that eventually wound up taking the life of Janae Harris. She's a mother. And the
Jesus.
story that I've kind of gotten, and I'm definitely going to apologize if I'm getting any of this slightly incorrect, but just off of the different things that I've read, the way that the story kind of leads to me is her and a group of friends and her boyfriend went to a club. They left the club and they went to a spot to go get something to eat. While they were waiting for their food, Miles and Davis were kind of dancing in the street or something along those lines, trying to impress the young ladies that were in the vehicle. Um, The boyfriend for Harris rolls the window down and says, "Yo, she's got a boyfriend. She's not interested."
Mm-hmm.
One thing led to another. A text message, and this is the part that kind of this is the sad part, if you would, about this whole story, because if a different decision was possibly made, then we may not be having this conversation. But a text message was sent to another player on the Alabama team, a young man by the name of Brandon Miller. He's a freshman, uh, averaging 19 points a game. He's 6'9". You know what I'm saying? Like, he's, lottery pick type player leading that team this year. A text message gets sent to him from Miles saying, bring me my gun. Um, he jumps in the car. He drives to where they are. He's saying that he was going as a designated driver to get his friends and to bring them back with him. When the car arrived, Miles, there's video evidently of Miles in the back seat with Davis. He gives Davis the gun. Davis goes up. Shots are fired into the vehicle. Um, the young lady is hit in the head, dies on the scene. A couple of other people inside the car, they have injuries and stuff like that. Um, Davis actually catches a bullet, if I'm not mistaken, in the shoulder. Um, Davis and Miles are both now sitting in a prison cell. They are brought up on manslaughter charges, and it's just a sad, sad story for a night out on college, having a good time, and it turns into something like this. The controversy is because now you have a player that has been cleared because, as they said there in Alabama, like, what can we charge Brandon Miller with?
That's
Not
the
have to
boy that
jump
brought
in
the
that
gun.
car. That's the guy that brought the gun, if you would.
Right.
He got in the car to go pick them up and wound up. He's saying he didn't realize that the gun was in the car until they got there, because he didn't get the text because of other texts that were going back and forth between him and Miles. He was basically going to get him and bring him back, you know what I'm saying, to the dorm room, whatever the case may be. So that'll be the stuff that'll kind of get hashed out over the course of the investigation. Um, it wasn't until recently that a text came out where it actually shows the text message where he did send a text saying, "Bring my pistol to me." Um, the controversy is
That's crazy.
because the PR department at Alabama has really dropped the ball on this one. They did not keep their head coach informed of a lot of the stuff that was going on. So he's going up in front of the media saying one thing, and then the next day, when they share information with him, he's basically going up and saying something completely and totally different. Um, but the thing that really has kind of drawn the ire, if you would, of sports fans here recently is, when players are announced at a game, they are sitting on the bench. There's a tunnel, and there's normally one dude at the very end, and that dude has something that he does with every one of the starters for that specific team. So a guy comes out, they might have a handshake, they might do something, take a picture, blah blah blah, whatever the case may be. So Miller has come out on a number of different occasions throughout the entirety of the season. And if you ever watch UFC, what happens before a UFC fighter gets into the actual ring is he puts his hands up like this, and he is actually patted down to make sure that he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have anything else on him. Well, Miller has a pat down ritual with the last dude in the line before he goes out to shake the coach's hand and comes out. Well, nobody in the PR department for Alabama decided to let a 19-year-old kid know you may want to not do that for the remainder of the season based off what's currently going on. But in one of the first games that he got, after he got this huge ovation from the University of Alabama fan section at a home game, he comes out, they say his name, he comes through the smoke, he goes through, he does his little handshake, whatever. He gets to the very end, he puts his hands up like this, and he lets the guy pat him down. There's dudes in college, man, that get 2 and 3 game suspensions because they missed curfew, or they got caught smoking weed, or they were drinking, or they're not doing what they're supposed to do in the classroom, or something along those lines. And for him not to receive any sort of discipline whatsoever, for regardless of what his role is in this matter, he didn't have to jump in that car. He didn't
No.
have to drive up to go get him. And again, there's a lot of information that is still going to be forthcoming. there's no reason ever for somebody to lose their life over something like this. That there's a young man right now that will not have his mother for the rest of his life because of a decision that was
Yes.
made by a group of individuals. You know what I'm saying? And that is not something where I'm not a gun guy. Rennie and Royce, they're both gun guys, but they're responsible with their stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like they've done all the courses and everything like that. At no point in time will I ever expect a text message from either one of them saying, "Bring me my pistol." You know what I'm saying? And if I got it, the last thing that I'm going to do is bring it to them. I'm going to go and try
Bingo.
and remove them from the situation itself. So
There it is.
it there will be stuff that will come down the pipe over the course of the investigation. And I mean, if he didn't have anything to do with it, and if he really truly didn't realize that the pistol was in the car, man, I mean, I get it, but still, you got to read the room, man. And a pat down after you're being accused of bringing a pistol to a location that wound up costing the young lady her life, it's just not a good look, man. It's just not a good look at all.
So wait a minute. So the boy that brought the gun to the spot wasn't arrested? He was able to go play basketball? And after that situation, he's in the game and he gets the fake pat down. It is a tragedy. It is a horrific story. Like E said it best. There's a child that will be motherless now, that is motherless now because some people just didn't know how to act. But that's the culture of things, and that's the sad truth of what's happening right now. Um, there's no honor out here. Like as my one of my best friends on the planet, man, my brother, like I know there were times where I was like, E, I'm about to sound off and somebody's about to get it. And you were never the one to be like, well, let's go do it. Let's go get them. You were the exact opposite. So when I tell people that, well, oh, this is my set, these are my boys, these are my peoples, I kind of like ask questions like, do they have your best interests at heart? Do they really care about you? Do they love you? Because the people who love you are going to say similar stuff. And the people who don't like you, if you're paying attention, they also say similar stuff. And this is a testimony to you as a great friend over the years. Like anytime I was at the verge of mad, every time I should say, you were the one on the edge, like, yo, nope, get over here, yo. Like, what's the
Yeah.
joint on Mortal Kombat? Get over here.
Get
Like,
over
you would
here.
never, like, anything I got into was in your absence. Amongst other people, they're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's like, it's about to go down. Let's go. You were the only one that would be like, nah, man, that's not for you. Like you were one of the only people that said, dog, I care about you enough not to put you in a hole and visit you there every now and then with a bouquet of flowers, or go check you out behind some glass. So
Mm-hmm.
nobody out there over dancing in a parking lot talking to shorties like sucker shit. Like fight if you're gonna fight. You want to throw hands? You want to get busy? Do it. But for you to make
Right.
a call or text or whatever the case is, that's premeditated. Sound like what you want a gun for over that? And then the dude, oh, I didn't know. What you think? Like, come on, dude. Like, I could be like, E, go to Gladys's house and pick me up some stuff. You know, all my stuff was at the crib. There's no way you're gonna be
Right.
like, oh, I didn't know it was in the car. I didn't know I had it over here. You've been like, nah, this is not a good look. So, dude is whack. His peoples are whacked. He shouldn't be allowed to play, and everybody should be in trouble. And the biggest person to lose at this is the kid that doesn't have the mother. Over what? Like, what was the reason? Because dudes were just
Right.
talking.
And that's the crazy part about it, man. Like it's gotten to the point now where her family's like, stop saying her name. Just
Mm.
just stop saying her name
Yeah.
because they have to deal with this man for the rest of their life. That's a daughter that's gone. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, it's one of these things, man, where when you look at the sports side of it, they're having a great season. He's a big reason why. You know what I'm saying? And I only hope that in a situation like this that he didn't think he's 19 years old, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying that, that excuses anything at all, but
No.
you got to know better than that, man. Like you said, man, like I'm a big proponent to, if you get thrown into a lake You and all of your boys get thrown into your lake, and you're the only person that knows how to swim. Um, they aren't going to just go, okay, he knows how to swim. I don't know how to swim. I'm just going to go ahead and sink. Nah, man, they're going to try and drag you down with them.
Mm.
And unfortunately, man, like when you have a situation like what he was in, he had two choices. He could have still went to go pick him up. He didn't have to bring the pistol. You know what I'm saying? Or he could have responded back, man, y'all need to get back here now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the deal is, but if it's gotten to the point where you're asking me for a gun, you're not in a situation where you need to be. You know, Herm Edwards said a long time ago, nothing good happens after 12 o'clock. And here you have it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, man, when all of this stuff's going down. I get it, man. It's a college campus, man. College campuses are still live at 2 o'clock in the morning. Decisions by others affecting other people for the rest of their life, man. It's senseless. And it
Yeah, it's
goes to a
corny.
bigger topic in regards to, gun violence and things along those lines. And you said it best though, man. Like when we were younger, if you got beef, we can try and settle this. You know what I'm saying? We can step out onto the street, we can handle our
Yeah, let's
business,
get
we
it.
throw these hands, and then it's done. You know what I'm saying? And nowadays, everybody does their fighting with a weapon, and it's unfortunate, man, because you have a young lady right now who had her whole life ahead of her, man. I mean, she's what 25 years old, if I'm not mistaken, um,
That's so
and it's
crazy to me,
gone
man.
just like that. So, and like I said, the thing from a sports perspective is that the Alabama athletic department is really catching a lot of flack right now because they have completely and totally blown it on this. They're not keeping their head coach informed before he goes out and talks to the public. And the
Hmm.
crazy one of the things that was brought up in a conversation the other day was is that when you start hitting these tournaments, the SEC tournament, when you start hitting the NCAA tournament and stuff like that, the restrictions that are normally on the players during the season is gone. So now you got a
Hmm.
19-year-old young man who has done something questionable that is going to be having cameras and microphones put in front of his face and
He got to
asked
go,
direct
man.
questions about this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's a tragedy and it's sad that you have three young people between the ages of 19 and 25 whose lives have been forever changed because of a snap decision that was made by one person. And it sucks, man. It sucks. And it's not the type of sports that I like to talk about, but in a situation like this, man, like you got to read the room. One, you're lucky that you're even allowed to be able to play.
He
One,
shouldn't be,
one, you're
man.
lucky you're allowed to be able to play. Two, you receive zero suspension whatsoever, and you really thought that it was going to be a good idea to go out there and be patted down before the game. You know what I'm saying? That's just not a good
Because these
look, man.
cats,
It's not a good
they
look.
don't, they're not held accountable for anything, man. Like, think about Alabama right there. Like, that's a red flag for Alabama. Like, the coach, the team, the school should have shut him down. Like, him doing that gesture, it shouldn't even been a topic. It would have been like, nah, you're not gonna represent Alabama after that mess. Like, we
Right.
can't have you do that because we're trying to accomplish something, hopefully, for the betterment of not just the school, but like sports in general. And you're not a good ambassador. And you can say 19 all you want to. You can say, oh, I didn't know. You can claim ignorance. But the facts are communication was made in reference to a weapon. You show up with said weapon. So I have a hard time believing you didn't know. And I'm
Right.
speaking from personal experience. And I'm sorry if anybody who really respects me thinks differently after this. But like, I know when it was like, yo, let's go. I knew what time it was. I wasn't confused at all. In the moments I was really shaky, I'd probably call you, be like, yo, I'm about to do this because I knew you'd probably be like, nope, you're not going.
I'm on my way to come get you now.
Yeah, and that's a fact. I've been thrown into cars, bear hugged and all by this dude. So I know what a real friend is. And what that dude was not a real friend. So I'm not trying to hear that mess, man. Like, God bless that family that has to deal with this. Shame on them dudes. Shame on Alabama. Like, come
Right.
on. And that's the
Right.
last place we need to be acting up as Alabama people. It,
Conversation for a different
oh,
day. Changing gears and kind of bringing it back to the sports aspect of it, man. The last thing we're going to talk about tonight, man, before we get out of here is the changes for the MLB. for the upcoming season. Um, One of the ones that I like, man, is that they've gotten rid of the shift. So no more third baseman standing between third and second, the shortstop behind second base, and the second baseman out in mid and then the first base. You're not gonna see that
Mhm.
anymore. At the when the pitcher actually winds up and throws, you have to have two people on either side of second base. The percentages of singles actually dropped by almost 38% over the course of the last 3 years because of the shift. Now, I'm going to kind of turn the tables a little bit on this. You're a professional baseball player. You see the third baseman standing where the shortstop should be standing.
You know what time it
You
is.
can't you can't take the ball down the third baseline, but you're a professional baseball player. So
Right.
I got feelings about that, but I like the fact that they're getting rid of the shift. I do appreciate that. I don't think that that will be one of the bigger changes, if you would, for the upcoming year. Another one that you have is that they changed the sizes of the bases. So it used to be 15 inches. It's now 18 inches. It looks like a daggone pizza box, dude. Wait until you see this thing. It's ridiculous. But
But
it's
why, E?
meant
Why do they do
to
that?
so it's meant to give more surface area for to try and cut down on the number of collisions that happen from, like, say, a guy taking first to second and a throw down to second base. And now you have a guy that is basically standing on the bag or whatever the case may be, and a guy coming to the bag. Now there's more of a surface area for them to be able to attack, if you would. So it's supposed to try and free up a little bit and try and prevent some of the injuries. I mean, I get it. I don't know if adding 3 inches, you know what I'm saying, at this point in time to each one of the bags, but home plate is still the same size. It also shortens the distance now between first and second and third. So it's it
Yeah.
it I don't know, man. I'm curious to see kind of how that all plays out. But I think it'll be something that, it'll be joked on at first because it looks like a Pizza Hut box out second base. But I think that in time, I think it's just something it'll just kind of be adjusted to. Um, the extra innings is something that has been played around with in the minor leagues, high school, and stuff like that. So going forward from now on, if the game goes to extra innings, the last out will actually start at second base. So you put yourself in a position to try and not have 22 inning games. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
By guys having to try and work their way all the way around the bags. You're already putting a guy on second base. A sacrifice fly puts the guy at third, and now you got a sacrifice fly, and that guy can potentially score. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's good to kind of move the game along a little bit because one of the biggest complaints that people have about baseball is just the pace of the game. And when you take into consideration that, and this was the stat that I was telling you that I was going to throw at you, they're also implementing a pitch clock. Okay, so the way that the pitch clock basically works is this: there's 30 seconds between batters. So when a batter is out, the next batter has to be up, basically ready in 30 seconds. They got to be up near home plate. The pitcher has 15 seconds to go through his entire windup and make the delivery to home plate. 20 seconds if there is a man on base. So from the time that the catcher throws the ball back to the pitcher and it hits his glove, the timer
Mhm.
starts. All right. The batter has to be in the box within 8 seconds of the pitch being thrown.
What
So he
happens if he's
has to
not?
no more Garcia Parra would have been called out so many times from stepping out and going here, 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 bang, 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 bang. In no, 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 no. So they are
I don't
issued a
know why we
strike
got
if
to
they're
have
not.
Red Sox references.
I'm throwing them out there. Anyway, if he's not in the box, he's issued a strike at that at
Jeez.
bat. Okay. Now, the pitcher has to throw it, or I think if I'm not mistaken, it counts as a ball as well. So there's ramifications on both sides of it.
Both sides.
So there was a game the other day between the Red Sox, go figure, and the Braves, where
Mhm.
it is two outs, bases loaded, tie score, full count, bottom of the ninth inning. Dude gets rung up because he was not in the box on time. Game ends in a tie because it's spring training, so the game ends in a tie. Um, what a lot of people don't realize about this that have an issue with it is that the veterans that are currently in the MLB, yeah, they're going to make their adjustments. By the time we hit the All-Star break, this isn't really going to be a topic of discussion. Everybody will be used to it by that point in time. By the time we get to the postseason, it'll be second nature. But the younger guys, younger pitchers, younger batters, they've been doing this because they've been doing it in the minor leagues for the last few years. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like this is going to
Hmm.
be something new to them. So the younger guys, the prospects and stuff like that have been in AAA, AA, they're already used to it. So it's not going to be that new to them. So, but for me, the one that I'm actually curious to see is a pitcher can only, in one at bat, a pitcher can only throw over to a base two times.
Hmm?
If he throws over on the third time and he does not get the runner out, it is considered a balk and everybody moves to the next bag. So
What
the
is the
days
purpose of
of
this? To move along the game, to speed it up?
so the yes, yes. So the days of a pitcher coming set and then throwing over to first and then getting the ball back and then coming set and then throwing over to first and then getting the ball back and then get and doing that two, three, four times, you know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Gone. So in spring training last year,
Wow.
the average length of a game in spring training last year was about 3 hours and 10 minutes, roughly.
Hmm.
The average game time for spring training games this year is 2 hours and 38 minutes.
Wow.
There have been, I think it's 12 to 15, if I'm not mistaken, games that have been under 2.5 hours long.
Hmm.
So the dead time that you have that a lot of people complained about when it came to baseball, they're cutting all that out. You got a specific amount of time now to be able to do everything. You know what I'm saying? So it is definitely moving the pace of the game. I watched the game the other day, man. And it was like boom pitch, boom pitch, boom pitch, boom pitch, boom pitch. It was very methodical, if you would. You know what I'm saying? And it really did, in my opinion. And I'm a baseball guy, you know that. In my
Hmm.
opinion, it I think in the long run it'll benefit the game because now a game that starts at 7 o'clock won't be over at 11:30. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you and I watched plenty of Yankees Red Sox games that were 3.5, 4 hours long.
I didn't complain.
Can't do it anymore. But the downtime in between those pitches, the downtime in between a batter stepping out of the box, you know what I'm saying? Like you can only ask for timeout one time per at bat and things like that. So they're adding things to try and speed up the process of the game itself. Um, and I think that it's going to take for purists like us, that are like used to
Yeah,
what
man.
baseball is. It'll take a little bit of time, but then you're going to sit down and you're going to realize that the improvements that they're making are just like when they took away hand checking in the NBA. It's an improvement. When they took away the certain bump rules and stuff like that in the NFL to allow offenses to kind of open up a little bit more and things like that. So I think you'll see ERAs go through the roof at the beginning of the
Mm.
season, especially with the shift not being available to the defense. Um, but I think it's a good change overall for baseball because they have lost the
Okay.
younger dynamic. And I think that, check out a spring training game, you know what I'm saying? And you'll see that the pace of the game is totally different than what we're used to seeing. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I think it'll be interesting, man. I really do think it'll be interesting. So as always, man, we want to thank you guys, but subscribe to the channel, like what we're putting out there. Tell us what you think. I mean, it's YouTube.
Yeah.
You got an option to tell us. You know what I'm saying? If we messed up something, tell us what we messed up. If we need to do something better, tell us what we need to do better. I promise you one thing. If you do put a comment in telling us what we need to do better, me or Royce will respond to you. We won't let Renee be the one to respond to you. You know what I'm saying? As much as he may want to. Yes, I'm attacking you, so just be quiet. But at the same time, man, you guys are
Okay.
the reason why we're doing this. You know what I'm saying? So we really do hope that you guys enjoy the content that we're putting out there. And as always, I will turn it over to the best hype man in the business. Give him the socials, Ren.
You know what it is. It's YouTube, it's Instagram, it's Twitter, it's the Apple Podcast, and you already know the name. It's at the Homie Trinity Podcast. Act like you've been here before and hit the buttons, all of them, bells, all of it. Hit it.
So you guys have a good night, man. We'll be back later on this week, man. We got another recap coming up of The Last of Us. If you haven't seen any of those, make sure that you check those out. And as always, my favorite segment, does it smoke like it smells? It'll be around the corner. Hopefully we'll have something for you. And I'm kind of anxious, man. We get another pipe name this week from my man Renee. So you guys tune in, man. Check out the stuff, man. Like I said, subscribe to the channel. And as always, man, appreciate y'all for joining us. Peace.
Peace.